Just first off, with the deal for KP being announced yesterday, for the club, big picture, just one, how does it help you guys with the money that you get from that, and two, how does it help from the the developing of players and kind of helping them move on to a different maybe platform in their career?
Well, one of the great things that our owners have always been very supportive of is any time that we have made a sale on a player or whatever, that money was always going to stay within the team. Mm-hmm. So that's incredibly generous of them, because there's a lot of clubs where an owner might take a portion of that money out, mm-hmm. or all of it, for other things, and so we get to keep that. So that money can be turned into allocation money, which is great. I think in a lot of respects it was a very good opportunity for both. I think KP had been here obviously a long time. At times he had injuries. It happens sometimes with players, but he still has a huge upside. And I think probably for him, getting a fresh start and all that stuff is going to be hopefully advantageous to that. And at the same time, it shows that we have players that people still want around the world. It's good.
How important is it to get that sell-on clause so that you guys are able to get the benefits of a player that has a lot of talent, a lot of upside?
Well, I think it's part of the deal, right? I mean, you're trying to, as a club, forecast as well that once you do sell a player, that the potential of him moving on again and knowing what his potential is to a possible future sale, and then we can still continue to participate is a great thing for us, for sure.
Do you think it's one of those things with him? I mean, you've said I've heard you many times over the last couple of years say his upside is so high. Was it really just a matter of the injuries keeping him off the field, kind of allowing that? And,
I mean, if you remember, and maybe you don't, but I can tell you, over last year and the 2 years before, mm-hmm. Zeus had a period of time in each of those 3 seasons where he was injured for a good chunk of 3 months or whatever. Unfortunately, each time, mm-hmm. that would have been his opportunity, but he was injured as well. Yeah. And so he would have gotten all those games. And, I don't mean this by any means, but, that would have been an opportunity to also maybe win the position. Mm-hmm. But because he could never get into that rhythm, we always had to be very careful. It was if you that's just the unfortunate thing for him. What I'm hoping is that he can stay healthy, mm-hmm. and, he can move on from there. That's what has to happen for the kid.
What do you think his level can be? His talent level can be?
It's hard for me to say. I think he's incredibly talented. I really do. I think he's got the athleticism. He's unbelievable on the dribble coming out with the ball, so he can be very, very useful in a lot of teams in that regard, because there's not a lot of guys that can dribble like him out of the back and be as fluid as he is. And then he'll continue to improve in the final third, which I'm sure he will. And like I said, he's got a huge upside in that regard.
New York Red Bulls this weekend. It always seems to be a relatively difficult place to play. What makes it difficult road trip, and what's going to be difficult about this matchup for you guys?
Well, I think, very familiar with the style. It makes the game at times very hectic. You have to keep your head on a swivel. You have to be very careful on second balls, because they pick up a lot of second balls, in your half. And when they do, they're getting on the counter very quickly, and that's a big part of their game. So I think that's why it winds up being that way.
How's this week of training, and how's the health?
Actually, the week has been good. I think the break after the 2 in a row so close was actually really healthy for us. I think the team and some of the days off has kept the guys hungry, and I think they're ready to go play a game. So I think it's been good.
How's Emmanuel doing?
He's going to be out for a little while. It's his groin is it's not great. He's going to be out for a while. The good thing is right now, you have Jake, Zoe, Remy, Memo, and Tommy. So the lucky thing is we have quite a few guys.
Kind of go back to KP for a second. Was it maybe a little easier to transfer him, knowing that both Kyrie and Jake have stepped in at right back and played pretty well?
Yeah, it is. I have to say, he doesn't get a lot of credit, but Kai has done extremely well in that position. And then you can't deny the height that he has for set pieces. It's huge for us. So having another guy on the back line as well, when the other team's playing long balls, for him to be able to dominate in the air like he does, he's been he's been a pleasant surprise in that position. I commend him for his attitude, because his attitude's been tremendous. He's like, no problem, like I'll play there, and he's been really good, really good.
As a guy who went from a forward to a defensive role, how big of a transition is that for, you know, in the middle of your career?
I honestly think the biggest transition is whether or not you have a good attitude, and he has it. He's got it. Kai's always had a really good willingness to do whatever the team needs, and he's right now finding a really good spot on the field. And like I said, I mean, it's not like he's just surviving there. Like, he's playing the position very well and adding a lot to our team.
There's like always little nuances that you need to learn in each position, and how's he doing with that?
Very well. He picked, like, when I have a chat with him about something, like there was something happening in today when we were training, and I was like, hey, and he's like, I know, like he already knows, like he knows, and that's great, because now I'm not having to remind him, because he's thinking about it thereafter and already coming up with a solution for himself. So he's a guy that takes in information and can implement it really quickly.
Joaquin Fernandez, is he available this weekend?
No, he's still going to be a couple more weeks.
Okay.
It's gonna be a little time as we bring him into the team.
Okay.
Yeah.
In that time frame, is it just to get him a little more fit or a little more used to things?
Yeah, and then when he was kind of training a little bit, he got a little bit of a strain, and I was like, you know what, we're not going to do this. Like, I want you to get to a place where you're really good, and then you can start entering here and there, and then we're going to slowly build you up, because I'm not gonna sacrifice the guy and all of a sudden get him a long-term injury. I just don't want to do that. Like a muscle injury's out for 6 weeks. I don't want to do that.
When you got him, was he maybe more of a player for the future than just for the closing out this season?
No, I would for sure. I mean, for sure, we wanted to have him play as soon as possible. But as I said before, the issue is like he's finishing his season, he's on break, and he never had a preseason when he came here. So I just know over the last couple of years, if you don't give somebody a preseason, it's just a matter of time when they get injured, and I want to try to avoid that.